Hey guys, we're back here again, another episode of the Ari Paul Show where we talk to the best entertainers all over the world. Today's entertainer is a magician and a mentalist. His name is Chris Fabiano. Chris, thanks for being here. How's it going?
It's going well, Ari. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Just living the dream here. Living through COVID, really. I'm sure you lost a lot of work as all the other performers did.
You know it. You know it. We all did.
Yeah. At least we're in it together. So, how long have you been doing magic and mind reading for?
So I probably started, I would say, about 25 years ago. I've been doing it for a long time. I went to see David Copperfield show when I was a kid, and ever since then I was kind of hooked.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what got you into it other than Copperfield? Did you? Everyone's like, I had this uncle that showed me a trick, or like, I was at a birthday party and I saw a magician. Did you have like a moment there, or what did Copperfield do that made you want to do magic? Do you remember like the trick?
Yeah. So I saw the death saw thing that he did, where he sawed himself in half basically, and it was the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen. And up until that point, I was a kid. I didn't know what to believe. I was like, oh, does he have powers? Is it real? Like, how's this stuff working?
Yeah.
And then I had a godfather that bought me a magic book and a magic kit for one of my birthdays. I believe it was my 8th or 9th birthday, I want to say. And ever since then, I read through the whole book. I tried to learn every single trick in that book.
Nice.
And I still remember most of them. And some of them are still in my working repertoire today, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Did you have a lull? I know I talked to a lot of people. They did magic when they were like you said 5 to 8, then they stopped. Did you do it all the way through, or like how'd that work out?
I never stopped.
Okay.
I never stopped. I just kept on rolling. I used to fool my teachers in school. I used to fool my friends in school. One of the teachers was convinced I was a warlock, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What
I did
trick
this
did
one
you do?
thing where I had this like this string and this paper clip, and I used to hang it on the end of the string like a pendulum. And I had one of my teachers, this was actually in high school this happened, one of my history teachers, I had him hold the string, and I would go like this back and forth with my hand, and then suddenly the paper clip would start following my hand, and it freaked him out. He was saying, what's going on with this guy? Is this kid for real? So it was
awesome.
a pretty interesting experience.
Did all the your classmates in the school, did they know you kind of like, Chris, show us a trick? Like, did you become like the
Well, sort of. So some of them did, and then some of them were like a little like uneasy about it because some of them thought it was real. So I was kind of walking that fine line even at that age of kind of like leaning toward the psychic entertainment side, the mentalism kind of like weird stuff. I was always into ghost stuff, weird stuff, which is great because actually with Halloween around the corner now, this is my time of year. This is my favorite time of year.
Do you do a Halloween show, like a specific like themed show?
I do, yeah. So I actually did miniature seance shows. This was one of my best-selling shows, actually, up until the point where the pandemic hit us.
Yeah.
I used to go to dinner parties. It was a dinner party show, so it was designed for everyone to sit around a dinner table, and everyone would hold hands and say incantations, and weird stuff would happen.
This
Things
isn't
would
like
move on their own. There were weird noises.
Yeah, this isn't like a kid's show then. This is like kind of like adult spooky.
No. So though I do children's shows and birthday parties and things, it's not really my target audience.
Right.
The audience that I'm usually accustomed to going for are like college age and older, because my best material tends to be on the creepier, more uneasy, unsettling side. A lot of mind reading, weird mentalism stuff and ghost stuff, and I'm very much into like the bizarre magic end of that.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and I had the opportunity last year, and it's a shame that the pandemic hit, because I had an opportunity to perform in an actual historic manor that was there since the 1800s, and there were stories about it that it was haunted, and I was supposed to do a kind of a mini seance there in the like the bar area, or the living quarters area where they would have had drinks with their friends and relatives and things. And I actually researched a little bit of the history of the place, and I was going to tell the history stories of the place, the historical stories, and do a little seance magic to that. So
Very nice. I know, like you said, you don't do tons of children's market isn't what you're into. I know you do a lot of corporate stuff and private parties. And I know you for a long time were doing a lot of mentalist shows, mind reading shows.
Yes.
When did you transition? I'm assuming, most children when they start, they're a magician, they do magic. When did you kind of get into the mind reading mentalist thing?
So actually, funny story about that. So when I first started out, I did actually juggling as well. Juggling.
Oh, cool.
So I was doing mostly juggling with just a little bit of magic, because I didn't think that the type of magic I was doing from those early books that I learned, and I started doing birthday parties at a pretty early age. Like when I was like 14 years old, I was doing, kids parties that were only like 4 years younger than me. So it was kind of a wild scenario.
Yeah.
But I started with juggling, and I was doing more juggling than magic, and I did a few magic with silk handkerchiefs because I was already juggling the silk handkerchiefs in my juggling act. And so then I decided, well, let's do some magic with them, and I started doing that. And then I got into more of the classics, linking rings and cups and balls, and
Sure.
and some card magic and things like that. And that slowly got incorporated into my show. And I did a festival show when I was 16, and I'm still doing to this day. Well, not this year, but other than this year, to this day, I annually do that same festival that I've been doing since I was 16.
You must do a great
my
job
show
then.
has gotten bigger and bigger each year to
Yeah.
the point where, I used to do one show when I was between 16 and 20 years old. I'd say I was doing one show there. Now they hire me all day. I'm there for, 6-7 hours. I'm doing, a show every hour. So
No,
crazy
man,
experience.
that's awesome. You must do a great job if they have you back.
Yeah,
That's the
I
ultimate
like
compliment.
it.
That's
It's
the
fun
ultimate
atmosphere.
compliment.
Everybody seems to like it.
Yeah.
The mind reading stuff goes over well. They have another magician there that's doing the kid stuff, and he does a great job too. So actually, it's a festival that has multiple magicians, which is not something you see at every festival. But both of us have like our own respective audience, so it works.
That's awesome. Do you have any memorable, fun performances? Anything happen where the microphone blew up, or someone passed out during the show? Or
Well, I have a fantastic story to tell you.
I'd love to hear it.
It was a crazy Halloween show. It was mostly a disaster, but not on my end. I had nothing to do with the disaster part, but I'm about to tell you what happened. So it was at an old, like, broken down old farm, and it's kind of like there was a mansion on the property too, and it was really old. It was another historical place that had been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it was converted into ballrooms, I think, for weddings and for other sort of, catered events. And when I arrived, I walked in and found the woman in charge who had booked me. And the first thing she said to me was, "You don't work with any live animals, do you?" And I said, "No, not in my act." And bear in mind, this is designed to be a family Halloween show. So my show at this particular venue was for all ages. And she said, "You don't work with any live animals?" I said, "No." And she said to me, "Oh, thank goodness. We had a magician last year. He was dreadful. He made these birds fly out of his hat. They appeared in his hat, and they all flew out of his hat. And the children were so excited that they were clapping and yelling and screaming and having a great time, and the birds got frightened.
Oh.
And they flew up into the ceiling fan and exploded over the
no.
children, and pieces of the animals rained down over the kids, and they were traumatized." And I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
a nightmare.
"Whoa. Nope, not doing that act."
What? That's a first.
Yeah.
Heard a lot of stories on here, but that's a first funny one.
Yeah, that's wild. In addition to that, several of my props were stolen by children over the
Oh,
course of that show. They kind of just ran up on stage. There was very like lackadaisical adult supervision at this particular venue.
uh-huh.
And so the kids were kind of running wild. So they ran up on stage, grabbed things, ran off with them. And the reason why, too, it was, keep in mind, it was a Halloween party, right? So the kids are all excited and there was candy. So they were eating candy. They had like sugar rushes from eating all the candy they were eating.
Yeah.
So I can't blame the kids for that, but it was still just a crazy event.
That's memorable.
So that was one experience I had. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been doing this 25 years. That's a really long time. What advice would you give to like an aspiring magician looking to get started? Maybe someone who can do a little magic but doesn't know how to find an audience or anything like that. How would you help someone who's looking to get started in this whole magic thing? Because I just know when I started, once I learned the tricks, I was like, where do I go to actually do these for real people? Like, it was like a vampire with blood. Like, I needed to perform all the time. It was just so fun. What's your advice?
So the best advice I can give is that there's so much magic out there. Now, I can't speak for other art forms because for the most part, I'm a magic guy. But there's so much magic out there. Don't try to do it all. Do some of it and do what you do really well and make sure you're unique. So you don't want to be the same as the birthday party magician you may have seen growing up. You can do the same tricks that person did, but don't do them in the exact same way. You want to change it up and try and be unique. Now, granted, there are some tricks out there that are classics, and they should not be changed a whole lot. Not that you can't change the presentation a little, but in terms of some of the routines, you want to try and stick to the classic routines in a classic way.
Guys, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be right back with magician mentalist Chris Fabiano in a moment. Thank you. See you soon, guys. Ari Paul Show. Hey guys, we're back again here, Ari Paul Show, talking to magician, mentalist, mind reader, Chris Fabiano. It's if you watch the show, this is kind of my favorite part where the performers that come on do a little bit of their act. So it is right around Halloween time here in America, and Chris is going to show us a trick, and I think it is a tad bit spooky Halloween theme. Chris, take it away.
Okay, in light of Halloween coming up, I'm very excited for this. I have a trick with some skulls. Now, these aren't just any skulls. These are mind-reading skulls, and I'm actually going to switch down to my hand so you can see what's going on here. These Halloween skulls have an uncanny ability to read people's minds in kind of an unusual way. They don't actually go into your mind and pull out thoughts. What they do is they link up with your mind. And in doing so, they can send thoughts as well as receive thoughts, especially the top one. He's the brains of the operation, even though he doesn't have any, at least not anymore. I'm going to try an experiment with Ari, and I have some cards here, Ari. These are unusual cards. These aren't playing cards, You would have seen those before, obviously.
Yeah.
These are a little bit different. These are cards with unusual designs on them. So I have different kind of designs on these cards, and some of them repeat. So these are known as psychic testing cards, and we're going to use these cards to test your psychic ability to link up with the, brainless skulls. Let's give this a try. I'm going to deal cards down one at a time onto the table like this. All you have to do, Ari, is say stop. You can say stop whenever you want as I'm dealing the cards, and where you stop is exactly, where you say stop is exactly where I will stop.
Stop.
Right here?
Yep.
Right here. The star. the
Yep.
star.
Fair.
Now, keep in mind, like, if you had stopped before, you might have gotten, there's a cross here.
Yep.
If you would have stopped after, you would have gotten maybe something different, a circle in this case. But you didn't stop any of those places. You stopped at the star. Remember I said that the skulls can read minds?
Yeah.
The top one was the brains of the operation, remember?
Mm-hmm.
If I turn him around, you can actually see there's a little slip of paper taped to his skull, to the back of his skull, because that's where these ideas tend to come from. And that was exactly what he knew you would pick.
Huh. He's smart for a guy with no brains.
He is. Well, he's been around a while.
Cool. Thank you. We love watching the performers do their thing on here.
No problem.
Let me put you on the spot real fast.
Sure.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Benjamin Franklin, for sure.
Really? Why?
He was probably the single smartest man in America and one of the smartest men in history. And I would just love to hear his ideas on magic, because to be a magician, you have to be a clever thinker. And he was one of the cleverest, even though he wasn't a magician. He was, an inventor, and science in a lot of ways is akin to magic, oddly enough. So.
No, that's awesome. Who speaking of that, who in the magic world are you into? Magic, mind reading world. Is there anyone that we heard of or haven't heard of? Who are some of your inspirations?
As far as the older guys are concerned, for the new crowd, I would say I really enjoy David Copperfield is great. Derren Brown of the UK is great. But as far as going back, I think Tony Slidini.
Sure.
Amazing.
Absolutely. What would you tell a younger Chris Fabiano getting started in this? Not like when you're 8 or 9, but when you started doing it for money and getting paid doing it. What would you change anything? Is there anything you learned? How did that all play out?
Well, I would certainly start focusing on marketing a lot earlier than I did. When I started, I wasn't sure if this was going to be a career or just a hobby, and knowing what I know now, I would have started marketing a lot earlier and tried to push for the career a lot earlier than I did, even as early as, when I got started in my, late teens, early 20s. I would have done it then. So.
Has your family been supportive? I know some people, you want to do magic for money?
Yeah, so some of them have, some of them haven't. You're always going to have naysayers when you do something creative.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, whether it's magic or art or music or anything.
That's true.
You just have to not listen very much to those people and try and get behind who's supporting your decisions and getting behind you and giving you that encouragement that you need. You need to stay behind those people, because those people are on your side. That's
great. So you've obviously got tons of passion for what you do. What is passion to you, and how do you know you have it?
Passion, I would say. See that? Wow, that's a tough question. I never really thought about.
That's a question from our producer, by the way.
I am very passionate about what I do. I would say that it's important to love what you do, no matter what that is. And if you don't love what you do, then it's probably not worth doing. So, love what you do. Passion is in a lot of ways linked to drive. So, you need passion and drive. You can't. I don't think you can have one without the other, because if you don't like what you're doing, then you're not going to have the drive to do the best you can at it. Because I'm passionate about what I do, I suppose that I never stop working at it, and I'm always looking for improvements, always, 100%.
Awesome. How do you measure success?
Some people would say you measure success by maybe the amount of money you make doing what you do. I don't think in terms of that. I think as long as you can live comfortably and you have advanced yourself, I think that's success. You know, as long as you're moving forward, I think that's success, even in baby steps, you know,
Sure.
moving forward.
And what's been the most challenging aspect of being a performer for you? I mean, whether it be the actual performance or the marketing, like what is, you know, have you learned? What happened?
Definitely the business end. I have a college degree in creative writing, which helps a lot with my script writing, writing my routines, writing my acts. But it didn't help very much with the business end of things. So, like I said, knowing what I know now, I may have taken a different course of study in college and learned other things, learned business related things and maybe some accounting and things like that.
I think the same thing all the time. Yeah. I'm like, if I could have, I mean, I know you can always go back, but if I were to do college again, I would have definitely, like you said, do some marketing and accounting stuff.
Yes.
What are some of your future goals? I mean, you know, you've been doing it for 25 years. I mean, are there any, is there any companies you want to work for? Did you want to like travel the world?
I would not mind traveling the world, but it's not one of my major goals. My major goal is actually I'd like to just have a theater that is nearby to wherever I'm happening to live at the time, and be able to just go do theater shows there, you know, almost every night of the week. That's what I would like. I mean, I know that's one of those places where you can do that is Las Vegas. So, you know, I may consider, you know, someday working a Vegas stage. I would like that, I think. But there are also local places, smaller theaters that I could do. I've done a lot of restaurant work too, honestly.
I know you have. Yeah.
There was a point where I was working three different restaurants 3 nights a week, and I was really enjoying myself doing that. So even doing tableside magic, honestly, is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. So you do like you said, you do the tableside, like we call that like strolling magic, right?
Yes.
And then you do a show for, I know you said you did a dinner show.
Yes.
And then do you have like a show where you're on stage, like literally a stage? Or is it more like a parlor where you're on the same level, or?
Yes. So am I allowed to plug one of my favorite theaters here?
I don't see why not.
Okay. So I worked many times at a place in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania called The Flash.
Okay.
Great little theater. Lots of fun things happen there. Like there's a lot of great acts, not just magic, but comedians and bands and unusual acts and all sorts of things. It's basically like almost like a performing arts center theater. So they have all sorts of different acts. And I've worked there plenty of times, and I have a full-length stage show. In fact, I think I've worked there every year, maybe even twice a year for the past 4 or 5 years. And every time they have me back, I change the act a little bit. You know, I don't want to do all the same stuff because there's a lot of repeat crowd there because it's kind of a local very
spot.
Very fun homegrown place.
Do you have a favorite venue? Like, do you like the walk around, or do you like stage, or the dinner parties, or?
My favorite is the dinner party venue, parlor dinner party, because at those sorts of venues you get the best of both worlds. Because it's in a parlor show you can do stage magic, but you can also do close-up magic. And, you know, not all stage magic or close-up magic will play in a parlor situation, but most of it does. And you can always, you know, if it's too big, like obviously you're not going to saw anyone in half.
Right.
You're not going to saw anyone in half at a parlor show. You're not going to do the David Copperfield saw, or, I mean, he's the only one.
Or at a kid's show, right? Now for my next trick, I'm chopping someone in half. There'll be blood everywhere.
No, you would not do that. But no, for the most part, parlor I think is my favorite because I think the creepy magic that I like the spooky seance kind of unsettling vibe, goes over the best in the party, the dinner party / parlor kind of situation.
Sounds great. Chris, we're just about to wrap it up. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Do you have a website? Someone can see it. Thousands of people are watching you.
Yes. So if anyone wants to book me, I am also doing online shows now as a result of the world in which we live. And you can book me at www.chrismagicmysteries.com.
And we got that up on the screen right now, it looks like. Guys, thanks again for joining us for the Ari Paul Show. Chris Fabiano. Chris, thanks a lot for being here today. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we will catch you soon, guys, next time on the Ari Paul Show, interviewing the best entertainers all over. Peace.